Lawyers for Michael Jackson's doctor finally dropped the bombshell they've been hinting at for months. Yesterday, they called to the stand a witness who said the king of pop caused his own death. CBS News correspondent John Blackstone reports.
They'd hinted at it for months, and Friday, Conrad Murray's defense team used their final witness to go straight at the theory that Michael Jackson alone was responsible for the overdose of the anesthetic propofol that killed him.
So you think it was a self-injection of propofol between 11:30 and 12 o'clock?
In my opinion, yes.
Anesthesiologist Paul White used charts and demonstrations suggesting Dr. Murray's claim that he administered only 25 milligrams of propofol was plausible and would not have been fatal.
Would this present a dangerous situation here?
Not at all.
White also testified that Jackson's stomach contents indicated he could have taken as many as 8 pills of the sedative lorazepam, possibly without Murray's knowledge, creating a deadly mix with the propofol.
The fact that there is even a tiny amount of free lorazepam is consistent with the theory that he took lorazepam orally.
But one day before, the defense team seemed to concede a major point, asking Dr. White if he could justify Murray's decision to leave the room while the pop star was hooked up to a propofol IV.
Absolutely not.
Dr. White will be back on the stand first thing Monday for cross-examination. Prosecutors are expected to hammer away at his theory that Jackson caused his own death. John Blackstone, CBS News, Los Angeles.
And now let's take a closer look at the story. And for that, we turn to Jean Casarez, who's covering the trial as a correspondent for TruTV's In Session. She's in our Los Angeles bureau. Jean, good morning to you.
Good morning.
As we said, we knew this bombshell, if you will, was coming. But do you think it lived up to the expectations that the defense had hoped for?
Well, I watched the jury, and they were really taking notes. They are definitely looking at both sides of this case, which is very good. You see, the defense is really relying on Conrad Murray's statement, which says that he had given Michael Jackson some injections of lorazepam, midazolam, what are they? They are sedatives through the night. It didn't work. Michael Jackson was awake, his eyes were open, and he kept saying, I've got to sleep. I have got to get some rest. I've got to go to rehearsal the next day. And they're basing their theory, though, on the science because they say lorazepam was found in the stomach. Conrad Murray says, I didn't give him anything to take that would go into his stomach. And then they're saying that that propofol, that Michael Jackson was so desperate, and there was a syringe on the nightstand. We think that's what we're going to hear in closing statements or in an IV. And he took it and just injected himself. You see, the prosecution is saying, no, it was a drip. It was an IV drip that went into Michael Jackson, not regulated, just the force of gravity. And Conrad Murray was out of the room talking to his girlfriends, and that drip went in too fast, and Michael Jackson died.
Well, Jean, how tough do you think prosecutors are going to be on Dr. White when cross-examinations begin next week?
Oh, I think they're going to be absolutely tough because they're going to talk about all these deviations of standard of care. They're going to ask him, can you justify that Conrad Murray bought 4 gallons of propofol for Michael Jackson? They're going to go into all of that because the cause of death, jurors can look at anything from ordering the propofol for Michael Jackson, but defense wants to look at that very close window right there to say, wait a minute, there was no tubing at the scene of any IV drip. Nothing was found like that. There was not a drip.
Is there still a chance that Conrad Murray could take the stand?
Yes, definitely. We don't know. The judge has to ask him personally, outside the presence of the jury, what do you want to do? We don't know that answer yet. He talked with authorities, law enforcement, 2 days after Michael Jackson died. He may want to talk to this jury.
Jean Casarez of TruTV. As always, we thank you so much for your insight. We'll see you next time.
You're welcome.